All right, today on the bench, we've got an old one. This is from about I guess, around the early 1960s. I do know that these LUNCHBOX transceivers were, even the older ones that were made in the 1960s, were used all the way up into the early 80s. They had a pretty long lifespan. The one here on the bench today is the Motorola handy-talkie FM radio phone model H23-12. This specific unit had two channels, channel 1 and channel 2. And if you could look here on the nameplate, it had transmit frequency and receive frequency, 168.425 megahertz. And frequency number 2 is 163.175 megahertz. Controls on this unit are fairly basic. They've got a volume and a squelch control on the back next to the antenna connection. The antenna is just a standard whip for that specific frequency set. And as you saw probably earlier, it has a switch here for channels 1 and number 2. Now, I've seen different versions of these Motorola's, and I believe even General Electric made one that have a old classic telephone style handset as opposed to this microphone with a little push button on it. As you can see, this cord has not really fared too well over the past 55, 60 years. So, but the connections are still good. I've actually powered this thing up, which I'm not going to do today, but I will in a future video if everybody's interested. It does transmit, and it does actually receive. Although it's a little bit scratchy, I do have to get in and clean the controls. Here is the on-off switch that's hidden underneath the microphone. Let's see, it's one of these push-pull deals, but there you go. Yeah, so it needs to be cleaned up. And this is not something I recently bought. I've actually had this in the shop for quite a few years. I think I don't know, probably close to 20 years now. It's been more or less a shelf queen, kind of a decoration for the ham shack. All right, as you can see, I opened up the panel here on the side. This is just for an auxiliary hookup, probably for a separate microphone, transmitter for higher power, or maybe a VFO. It does have a switch for internal and external. Again, I don't claim to be an expert on this model, but if anybody does have some more specific information on what actually connects here, if it is more of a VFO setup or an additional microphone, feel free to let me know. So let's go ahead and turn this thing around. There's not too much on the other side. It's pretty much identical. Let's go ahead and show you what the battery pack looks like on the inside. So let's see if we can do this. A couple little clips on each side. And this should just lift off. There we go. All right, there we have it. It's pretty clean inside. It's got pretty shiny contacts. Not too bad. I'm sure those are nickel cadmium. Let's see, I think that actually pulls out. Let's see if we can look at what this is. Okay, that's better. I've only got 2 sets of hands, so I had to put the camera down, but there are the rechargeable battery packs. These actually look a little bit newer than 1960s. They might be closer to 1980s, but I'm not familiar with Gates Energy products. It does look kind of 1980-ish to me, but again, if people know what these batteries are and you know what era they're from, feel free to chime in on the comments. The battery pack is just kind of spot soldered on the top or spot welded, and it does connect separately here on the bottom. And if you notice, there is a small note here in the bottom of the battery containment. Looks like some sort of technical sort of deal. Let's go ahead and look at that. All right, receive crystal, transmit crystal, carrier. Some notes. And, well, maybe the Frequencies have been changed a little bit. So, yeah, so there you have it. And let's look at the bottom of the actual transmitter, how that is set up. And not much to see. I'm not going to pop this thing open right now. You know, actually, I will pop this open. Let's go ahead and look at the electronics on the inside of the transmitter. All right, again, it's fairly clean. And gotta love the Motorola design. It's very, very almost mil-spec, if you want to use that term. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting to see sub-miniatures in here, but there are definitely transistors. Not saying there aren't sub-miniatures. There could be sub-miniatures underneath this panel, but it does seem to be fairly solid state from this perspective. There is one crystal right here. Oh, look at this. There is a date. January 26, 1957. So that answers the question about when this was manufactured. Not bad condition for all these years. So there you have it. The Motorola H23-12 handy talkie. If you got any specific questions about these or you want to take a closer look at something, let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to put another video together for any specific details you may want to see. And again, if anyone's interested, I will try to get this up and running and at least kind of do a quick transmitter test and even see what kind of wattage this thing puts out compared to what it was when it was brand new. All right, that's about it. I will see you on the next video.